When philosophers puzzle over the meanings of words like knowledge, good, evil, justice, meaning, God, and so on, they're forgetting how the words they're puzzling about are actually used in everyday language. If you want to know the meaning of a word or a proposition, look and see how it's used. There it's not mysterious. There's no deeper riddle, no mystery to be solved. Everything is there, out in the open. Look at the context. Look at the language game. But why does Wittgenstein call these language games at all? Well, the reason is that he thinks there are a lot of commonalities between language and games, and some kind of an analogy to be drawn between the two. Not to say that language is a game, but if we look at the two together, we can learn a lot about language and how it functions and how we should understand it. Both language and games often involve activities bounded by strict rules, for instance. Grammar has rules. There are correct and incorrect ways of using words and forming propositions in particular contexts. And there are rules and conventions which govern our social interactions and activities depending on what we're doing. The rules of the language game depend on the situation. Different games have different rules. There are different levels of strictness when it comes to rules. And sometimes there are no strict rules, emphasizing that language is not an abstract logical concern, but something which always has a context, something which is always woven into the fabric of our lives, something which is always being used to do something. Language games are the things we do with language, the things we use it to accomplish, the activities we partake in using language. This is why he says that the word language game is used here to emphasize the fact that the speaking of language is part of an activity or a form of life. He then gives a really interesting list and asks us to consider the variety of language games in the following examples. Giving orders and acting on them. Describing an object by its appearance or by its measurements. Constructing an object from a description, a drawing. Reporting an event. Speculating about the event. Forming and testing a hypothesis. Presenting the results of an experiment in tables and diagrams. Making up a story and reading one, acting in a play, singing rounds, guessing riddles, cracking a joke, telling one, solving a problem in applied arithmetic, translating from one language into another, requesting, thanking, cursing, greeting, praying.